And now, the general weather around Alaska.
Welcome to Alaska Weather. I'm meteorologist Peter Chan, coming to you from the National Weather Service in Alaska region. And it is Wednesday, May 22nd, 2024. If you'd like additional weather information on top of what I give you in this YouTube video, you can go to weather.gov, bring you to a map of the continental U.S., Hawaii, and Alaska to the lower left. You point and click anywhere on this map, and it'll pull up a very specific forecast for a grid point anywhere in the nation, including any relevant watches, warnings, or advisories. And a quick check of the map here in the continental U.S. this Wednesday afternoon shows we have some severe thunderstorm watches here in areas of the Northeast, New York State, Pennsylvania. Also severe thunderstorm watches in parts of Tennessee, back here into Northwest Louisiana, East Texas. Tornado watches, Central Texas. Heat advisories in South Texas. Red flag warnings for critical fire weather conditions across parts of southern eastern New Mexico, and we still have some winter storm warnings and winter weather advisories for areas of southwest Montana and far eastern Idaho. Here in Alaska, though, the main weather concern still is we're in the final stretches of the river breakup season. We have a flood watch that remains in effect for snowmelt, the potential for snowmelt flooding that goes now through the middle of next week for the Porcupine River. There and just above Fort Yukon. The Porcupine River is in the process of breaking up. It's already done so up in Canada, and that meltwater is flowing downstream, and we expect some higher water levels to develop late this week and over the Memorial Day weekend around and above Fort Yukon. So we'll keep an eye on that situation. Also, a flood watch for the potential for ice jam flooding continues on the lower Yukon River and Delta areas. The ice wave front has worked its way about 10 miles downstream of Mountain Village, so it's that lower section of the Yukon River out to the Bering Sea that we'll have to keep an eye on here over the next few days. And then overall, Memorial Day weekend is looking on the cooler side, occasionally wet, especially across southern Alaska. That would include areas of the southwest, south central, as well as the southeast. Not going to be raining all the time, but some areas are going to see some rather dreary weather on and off here as we go from tomorrow through Memorial Day. It looks like, though, we could get a little stretch of warmer and drier weather the latter part of next week, like Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, of course, after Memorial Day, across areas of south and east central, interior, mainland, as well as the southeast panhandle. But before then, it has been definitely sunnier at times and warmer now. Temperature at Fort Yukon as of 2 o'clock in the afternoon was approaching 60 degrees. A few more clouds up that way today, but there is some higher fire danger across the Yukon Flats with the drier conditions. Imanik there at the far end of the Yukon River, we have still that potential for some ice jam flooding, but today some lower cloud cover, maybe a few sprinkles, 39 degrees. It's been a very cool spring out there along areas of the southwest coast. Talkeetna, a lot of people head up that way for the holiday weekend. Overcast, 50 degrees. There will be some episodes of showers on and off up there for the holiday weekend, though it's probably looking like Friday, early Saturday will be the better portion of the holiday weekend. And then Sitka, there's an approaching front with rain that'll be moving in there as we go through later this afternoon, evening, and into the day. Thursday, temperature there 50 degrees. And areas of the Panhandle are going to get a round of rain, not just later tonight and tomorrow, but again for Saturday, and then perhaps another one around Monday. So it's going to be a wetter pattern there for areas of the southeast. So the only watches that we have up right now are two water or hydrological flood-related watches. Flood watches for the potential for snowmelt flooding along the Porcupine River as higher water levels come down the Porcupine before it empties into the Yukon River right there at Fort Yukon. So there is that potential. Some flooding could develop there around Friday into the upcoming weekend will be the critical period to get that high water out of there. And then down here along the lower Yukon Delta, there's the potential still for some ice jam flooding. Here's kind of a little more detailed map showing the area. Here is where the Porcupine River is opening up and higher water levels coming down there right now. And then we have the ice dam front has worked its way about 10 miles downstream from Mountain Village, so that still keeps areas like Lakanek and Imanik under the gun for the possibility of some ice jam flooding. Water levels around Emonic had come up a few feet this morning from what they were yesterday, but nothing major there at this time. And then the rivers of the north, the Sag River opening up and flowing pretty good on its way down to Prudhoe Bay. We also have a number of the other rivers that NOAA and other things that are beginning to open. So the northern rivers really, though, have yet to break up, and keeping an eye on those. But again, typically the biggest problems we have are along areas of the Yukon and Kuskokwim. Now, fire danger, we are entering the early fire season. In fact, with the holiday weekend coming up, we do have some pockets of high to very high fire danger in the around the Yukon Flats, kind of lower Tanana Valley area. There were some red flag warnings in effect yesterday. That would have been Tuesday evening, but those have since expired. And I would imagine if we get some drier conditions back up in through here with breezy conditions, we could see some other red flag warnings issued perhaps at some point next week. But at this time, nothing jumping out right away, no system to really bring in those kind of winds. So looking at the satellite imagery on this Wednesday afternoon, we have weak area low pressure in the northern Gulf, that secondary low. The other low is back here, lower Yukon, and that was the main low that came inland. But the front produced the secondary low, and there's a front that extends down here through the lower Gulf into the North Pacific, and that's what's going to push more areas of rain or rain showers in through the Panhandle and along the Gulf Coast, especially tonight into the day on Thursday. And if that's not enough, we got another low out here, way out towards Shimia, the western Aleutians. That's going to be moving up into the southwest quadrant of the lower Bering and then working its way eastward here just prior to the weekend before it makes landfall here along the southwest coast. So as of this afternoon, we have a secondary low in the western Gulf, frontal system ahead of it. That's what's going to push thicker cloud cover and more rain along areas of the Gulf Coast into the Panhandle. A scattering of some showers still possible areas of the interior. And then here's that low, the initial low that came in and off the Bering. That system will just kind of gradually, the energy from that work its way eastward and weaken. And then we have another low out in through the far western Aleutians, and by the time we get into late tonight, early on Thursday morning, this secondary low over the northeastern Gulf will continue to weaken, but again, still providing some areas of rain or rain showers along the Gulf Coast and Panhandle. And back out to the west, this frontal system and low will continue to march its way eastward, so that Thursday afternoon, the low center still back out toward the central Bering Sea, north of the central Aleutians, but the front arcing ahead of it, trying to push up toward Kuskokwim Bay, and with the front extending down, entering the lower portion of the Alaska Peninsula with areas of rain and rain showers. And then we have lingering showers on Thursday across the Panhandle. And for Friday, looks like the Panhandle will get a little break. Enjoy that, because that may be some of the better weather you see here for the upcoming holiday weekend. Here comes that secondary low. So here's the main low, the one I showed you that was right about here. By Friday afternoon, that low's coming up toward Kuskokwim Bay, will work its way inland and weaken. This secondary low will take over and work its way eastward. So again, that'll just bring a renewed round of either rain or rain showers along the Gulf Coast, and then push into the Panhandle on Saturday. Some extra moisture wrapping in around this low, and just the instability of these weaker low pressure systems with the daytime heating leads to showers in and around any terrain or mountains. So as a result, it's going to be on or off again, some rain over the holiday weekend. Not exceptionally warm either by some year standards, but something to keep in mind. Lows tonight will generally be in the 40s, mid 40s across the Panhandle. Upper 30s to near 40, but I would say more like upper 30s across much of south central. And then temperatures Thursday afternoon, we're going to have some cloud cover around. So again, readings confine most areas to the lower 50s. If you can get some thinning in the clouds, you might pop up into the mid upper 50s, 55 there at Glen Ellen and over toward Talkeetna. And then Friday morning lows will be a little warmer with some clouds and a little bit more maybe of a breeze. Temperatures are near or a bit above 40 there in south central, and then back here through the Panhandle, low to mid 40s, and daytime highs with the cloud cover. Friday will be the better day. Weather-wise, could see some breaks, partly sunny skies at times here and through the Panhandle. Temperatures in the 50s, maybe an isolated 60-degree reading down around Clawwalker up here towards Skagway. 60 possible over at Glen Ellen, and otherwise, again, we're just kind of dealing with a bit of a unstable pattern that'll not super active, not super stormy, but again, not sunny and 60 to 70 degrees. Now, speaking of 70, yesterday, Fairbanks had the state's high temperature at 73 degrees. Temperatures are running a bit cooler this afternoon, about 10 degrees cooler, but lows will be in the 40s along the Yukon and middle and upper Yukon and Tanana valleys. Temperatures dipping below freezing into the upper 20s, north slope, spine of the Brooks Range, Arctic coast, down to along the west side of the Seward Peninsula, on over towards Savunga. Temperatures Thursday afternoon with a little bit of sunshine, at least mid, maybe upper 60s, a couple spots. Yukon Flats there at Fort Yukon. Eagle around or maybe just above 60 as we get over around, say, Fairbanks on down toward Tanana. Temperatures, though, will only be near freezing along the Arctic coast as well as west side of the Seward Peninsula and St. Lawrence Island. Friday morning lows again below freezing, mid-upper 20s along the north slope, spine of the Brooks Range, Arctic coast. Upper 20s, near 30 here, northwest side of the Seward Peninsula as well as St. Lawrence Island. Temperatures 30s above freezing to maybe just above 40 degrees, and temperatures where you get any sun could jump up into the 60s, but otherwise 50s to lower 60s, pretty common. Central eastern interior. Readings near freezing for highs along the Arctic coast, western parts of the North Slope and Brooks Range, and then down 45 around Nome, but still relatively cool along areas surrounding both Norton and Kotzebue Sounds. And for the southwest, coolest temperatures along the lower Yukon coastline. Otherwise, lows will be in the mid-30s as you creep up the Yukon and Kuskokwim rivers. Lows upper 30s, near 40 along the Alaska Peninsula and eastern Aleutians. Thursday afternoon highs could get back up around 50 along parts of the Alaska Peninsula, Cold Bay down toward Dutch Harbor. Only 40-ish around St. Paul, and temperatures staying in the upper 30s, say around Chivak and Hooper Bay. But going up the Yukon River further up, you get temperatures 50 plus. And then Friday morning lows generally above freezing most areas. And then daytime highs Friday afternoon are anticipated to be generally away from the immediate cooler coastline into the 40s, both into the southwest interior, including Bethel, on down through King Salmon, Dillingham, and all the way extending out here into the eastern Aleutians. And a quick check of the temperature outlook. So May 28th through June 1st, there's the potential for temperatures to average below normal here along the Gulf Coast and Panhandle. Now, the only caveat, I've been kind of looking at a couple things that would indicate, could see some drier and a little warmer than normal temperatures set up in this region Wednesday, Thursday, Friday of next week, which is kind of, so we'll see what happens. But there may be enough of a ridge here that would allow the Panhandle to dry out and be a little warmer, as well as areas of the central eastern interior and parts of south central, before some other systems begin to come up by next weekend that could bring back in some little cooler temperatures and wetter weather, but temperatures should average above normal northern areas of the mainland. And then for May 28th through June 1st, we could see a return of some wetter conditions in the Panhandle and perhaps here in the southeast mainland as we begin the month of June.